Welcome to Our Scars Speak. My name is Christina Meyer. I'm the host of this podcast. And before we begin, I'd like to give a disclaimer that we are not trying to persuade you or encourage you to get off your treatment plan. Make for sure that you do everything that your doctors and those who are over your treatment plan are asking you to do. We are merely here to give a little bit of education, tell our stories, and support you all. So you listen at your own discretion. So without further ado, tonight I have one of my sisters with me from Here for the Girls. Her name is Pathy Valentina. Did I pronounce that right? I probably didn't.
Valiente.
Valiente. Okay. Girl, I swear, names and I just don't be getting along. But nevertheless, thank you for correction. I'm excited about having you here. Pathy is full of fun. I must admit, I love her dearly. She's part of, like I said, Here for the Girls with me. She's Miss May, but I'm gonna let her tell her story. But I'm excited tonight. I'm really, really excited. So thank you for coming on, Pathy.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So, without any longevity to this whole introduction, but how do you describe yourself? I know you have various titles, you're a mom and you're part of Here for the Girls, you're a survivor, but how do you describe you? How do you describe yourself?
I am a super positive, happy person.
Hmm.
I love to cook. I love baking most of all. I'm a mom. I love my kids.
Hmm.
I, what else can I tell you about myself? This is so weird. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. I'm the best friend anybody can have. That's how I describe myself. I'm always trying to make everybody happy, including
Hmm.
me, you know. But
Good.
I'm a really loving person, I
All
think.
right. No, you are. You are. And definitely a ball of fun. And your laugh is contagious. Your fun is contagious. Like you're just a good-hearted person and you love really, 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 really hard. And I love that about you so much. So, I would like to go over, as you know, you're coming up here to tell your story, but as you know, I like to go a little bit about before breast cancer because so many people look at us and they're like, "Hey, what happened from the point of finding out?" And it's like, "No, we were doing something totally different before we ended up having this whole disease." So,
Yeah.
if you could just you can go back as far as you like. Just tell us a little bit about what was life like for you before you even got diagnosed or knew anything about having breast cancer.
Well, I grew up in El Salvador. I met my husband over there, and I moved here 13 years ago.
Mm.
Um, we moved to Virginia Beach, and I became a Navy wife and a mom. My
Okay.
husband was deployed a lot, so I was going back and forth to El Salvador. Every time he deployed, I went back home for 9 months, 1 year, until my oldest turned 5 and started going to school.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I couldn't go anymore. He was in school, so I just stayed home and became a mom.
Okay.
I've always been the same. I always like to cook. I love different cultures and I love trying different things.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of an adventurous person.
Right. Okay.
And Matthias is my oldest,
Hmm.
and him and we were always everywhere. Like
Okay.
we were always trying to do something fun. Alex was always gone,
Right.
1 year here, 1 year there. So I I would I would try my best to keep us occupied.
Right.
Then my dad got cancer and I was traveling back and forth.
Mm.
He passed away. I was pregnant with my little one. And when he passed away, I came back home and I started feeling a little bit pain in my right breast.
And what year was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Now it was 2018.
And how old were you?
No, 2019, 38.
38. Okay. Oh, you
Yes.
were okay. Okay.
It started in April
Mm.
and I went to the doctor and they told me because I was pregnant it was probably that. So we left it at that. And
Okay.
then Sebastian was born 2018. I was diagnosed in 2019. So
Okay.
Sebastian was born and I kept having the same pain.
Mm.
And I went back to the doctor and I didn't produce much milk. So it was really, the doctors were telling me it was my breast trying to produce some milk.
Hmm.
So, whatever the doctor says, that goes, right?
Right.
And Alex deployed.
Mm.
So he went to Bahrain and I stay here with the kids. And I went back to the doctor in September. And the doctor said, "You've been here 3 times already this year for the same pain, but I can't feel anything. You don't have anything.
Hmm.
Would it make you feel better if we have a mammogram done?" And I said, "Of course. Let's get it done." And there I go. And
Mm.
that's where the fun begins.
So your father, if you don't mind me asking, what type of cancer did he have?
A really weird cancer that I cannot even pronounce.
Okay. Okay, that's
It
okay.
it was something on his neck,
Okay.
and I really couldn't tell you.
Okay. And so he was in El Salvador,
Yes.
correct? Before, okay, so you were going back and forth. I know you said you were going back and forth, and so you were with him throughout
Yes.
that process? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I stayed with him for the last 3 months.
Mm, okay.
You know, yeah, more or less 3 months.
So was there any other people in your family who had cancer at all? Or is that the first time was your father?
My little brother, he
Okay.
got diagnosed when he was 15.
Mm.
Another type of cancer. I'm not good with names, so
No, you're fine. You're
it
fine.
doesn't have nothing to do, as far as I understand, with my diagnosis.
Okay.
So it was my brother when he was 15, then was my dad, and then was me.
Mm. And so you said you were 38 when you got diagnosed
Yes.
in 2019. What month in 2019?
November.
That's interesting. I asked because I was diagnosed December of 2019. So that's
I was
interesting. Yeah.
I was diagnosed around the 18th of November, more or less.
Wow. Wow. So get going through that process just for people who may have never gone through it. I know I heard you say you kind of trusted the doctors because they didn't feel anything and they were saying pretty much you're fine. And I know you're a huge advocate for early detection, which you can get
Yeah.
into that a little later because I want people to really hear your story. But just share with us that whole process of getting the mammogram and then whatever else happened after that, if you don't mind.
It was really crazy because I was up by myself,
Hmm.
and Sebastian, he was going to daycare. He was really little. He was around a year and 2 months.
Oh,
And
wow.
Matthias was in school. And they didn't have any appointments in the mornings. So they told me the only appointment I could get was 3 o'clock. And I said, okay, you know, that's fine. Never in my wildest dream, I thought that they were going to reject me because I was coming with my kid.
What?
He couldn't go in with me,
Oh,
and he was only 5.
okay. 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 Because you went to go get
So,
the program. So I get what yeah.
so they had to postpone it.
Hmm.
And then they told me that they had a problem with the insurance. So they said, why don't you get an ultrasound? And if something goes wrong on the ultrasound, then it's immediately covered.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So I had to wait one more week for the ultrasound because they didn't have any appointments available.
Hmm.
And I went and they saw something. So it was an immediately mammogram the same day. And then they said I needed a biopsy on the same appointment.
Mm.
And that's when I didn't tell nobody. I
Okay.
told my mom that I had to go for a mammogram, but I didn't tell anybody else what happened after the mammogram. I said
Right.
everything's fine. The lady that told me that I needed a biopsy said, don't worry, just 1 in 1 million comes back positive. So you're good. And I said, okay. And
Wow.
it's a really difficult story. One of my friends was going through the same thing at the same time.
Hmm.
She got the biopsy done 3 days before me, and the radiologist told her it was cancer.
Mm.
So I had 4 or 5 days before I got the call
Mm.
of telling her, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. You're going to have a really good prognosis, and you're going to go into chemo and I'll be there with you, and this is all
Mhm.
good. And her husband wasn't here, my husband wasn't here, so I was there with her. And then she got a call saying that they got it wrong and it was negative for
Wow.
cancer.
Wow.
And a day after she got the call, I got the call.
Mm.
I went
Wow.
for the I went for my biopsy the day of my anniversary.
Hmm.
So my husband was on the phone with me the whole day because I was super nervous. And they said that I needed to come back on Friday. My biopsy was on a Monday for the results. And I said, okay. And Wednesday, my OBGYN called me and said, I just saw your name on the list. It was 6 o'clock at night, and I cannot make
Mm.
you wait until Friday. You
Hmm.
need to know right now. And then everything is a blur. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened.
Right.
I asked her, what do I do? And she said, I'm going to send you to the doctors that I would go if it was me. And I said, okay, that's fine. And she made all the appointments.
Hmm.
And
I want people to know, um, because there's been a few things that we kind of we hit on, but I want people to understand the predicament you were in. Far as you had no family here, your family's in a whole nother country.
yeah,
Your father has passed from this. Your brother had it when he was 15. On top of it, your husband's active duty. That's a lot in itself as well. And I can speak because my husband's been active duty Marine. And Marine Navy, they be traveling together. So it's like they're never home. It's like you're a single parent. When people like, oh, but your husband's in the military, yeah, but they're never home. Even when they're here in the mainland or in the United States and not over in another country, they're still never home
yeah,
sometimes. So for you to go through that, and then, just you having small children, you're young. And then on top of it, I wanted to get that. I wanted people to envision that. That's a lot. That is a
it is.
lot. The other part that I want people to understand too, which is something that you said that just kind of bothered me because obviously you probably have trachea, right?
Yes.
Okay. Whoever informed you of that you can't get, because I too was not at age when I was 20 something getting mammograms and stuff like that. I want everybody to know, and this is probably another reason why you're a huge advocate, but I want to stop you because I didn't want to forget about it. Y'all, when your doctor tell you no or deny you of a mammogram, which now they're a little bit more lenient about it, and because you're young, fight for it, because I know for a fact if you have something and you complain about pain, especially now so many people are getting diagnosed at younger ages,
Yeah.
you can get that mammogram. And
Yes.
ultrasound's good, so I'm glad I gave you the ultrasound, but I wanted to definitely put a pin in that because don't just stop with the insurance. Like you have to, sometimes the doctors have to play with the codes, they have to do their part and due diligence, but we have to advocate for what we need.
I didn't pay
You didn't
much
know.
attention to
You
it.
didn't know. You didn't know, but I wanted
Yeah.
to bring it up just so that people know. Like
Yeah.
These things are huge. And just to know that you were by yourself, you had never dealt with this before.
It was really weird because my first call was my husband's best friend and
Mm-hmm.
his wife, and they were here in about 10 minutes.
Right.
And they were sitting in my dining table, and I was cooking dinner for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Come and sit down and cry." And I said, "No, my kids need to eat."
Mm.
Like first, I'm a mom, and then we can talk about everything else. Once the kids are in bed, I'm not going to cry in front of my kids. I never did.
Mm-hmm.
And life goes on. My mom life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't feel anything. And it was really hard. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. This is a safe
I
space. I know it's live. It's still a safe space. You can cry if you need to because what you went through was a lot. It's
it
a
was
lot.
hard. I The first thing I did next morning was my little one was going to the CDC on base. And I went to them and I said, I was just hit with this news. And I need to know that you are going to take him any day, at any time, so I can go to my appointments.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was not going full time, he was going part time.
Okay.
So he was only in the mornings.
Gotcha.
But they were super nice and they said, "Don't worry, any day, anytime, you just let us know 1 hour before you're coming and we'll get him. He'll be fine." And then I went to church
Mm-hmm.
and I sat down and I cried for a long time. And I went back to the CDC and I grabbed my kid and I went to school and I grabbed Matthias and life went on.
Mm. And this is why we practice you. But this is what we do even as support. We cry together because it's a
Yeah,
lot. It's a lot.
yes, it is
And
a lot.
sometimes when you haven't talked about it in a while and then you come and do an interview, it's like, oh shucks, I didn't realize that it even affected me like this still. But no, that's why it's like if you need to cry, cry. I cry with you. But I want just everything and just not having you can have any and everybody around you, but not having family or people that have been in your shoes can be
Look, it took
hard.
me 8 hours to get in touch with my husband
Mm,
to let him know what was going on. And that was really hard
right.
because I couldn't call my mom because I didn't know how to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard. It was hard. And I had a lot of people around me.
Right.
I I had friends that I don't know what would I would have done without them.
Mm-hmm.
I had husbands picking up my kids from school so the wives could go with me to the doctors. And you have no idea. I had a great support system here.
Oh, absolutely.
A great support. My friends were by my side, but it took me a long time to tell them
Mm-hmm.
because I couldn't say the words out loud. It
Right.
was That was too much. And
And
on top of that,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I had a Disney trip
Mm.
planned with my kids and my sister
Mm-hmm.
for Thanksgiving.
Mm.
So 5 days before the trip, I went to my surgeon for the first time. And I told her, I don't know what to do. Should I cancel the trip? And she said, no, just go, have fun, be with your kids, and get the opportunity and tell your sister what's going on
Mm.
because you need to start telling.
Right.
I was like, oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
don't, it was hard.
And you brought up a good point for our support. Now, I will say, I'm just talking about from the perspective of like family and, having people like here for the girls, people who've gone through it. But you're 100% right. Anybody who's connected with the military know we come together.
Yeah.
Military families, because you know that's all you got on the base is who you have there. Because you don't have family a lot of times nearby. And so
Yeah.
we really do pull together for each other. So I don't want to negate that at all. Like I was just speaking of a different perspective. But no, you're right. Military families will pull together. 100%. They'll do their
Most of the
food, pick
time,
up
yeah.
kids. You know, you have your crew, like
Yeah.
your set people. But yeah, so when you got through, you came back, you told your sister and everybody. So what because you had the biopsy. Did they tell you what type of cancer and everything with the biopsy or when you went
I
through
have
surgery?
no clue.
Okay.
I don't, one of the things that I regret the most when I look back is that I never asked questions.
Mhm.
I never doubted my doctors. I love my doctors.
Right.
I think my doctors were the best team that I could have, but I never second guessed anything. They
Hmm.
will tell me, get up, sit down, jump, and I would do it all. And I wouldn't even ask nothing. I
It's
didn't know what was going on. And I don't remember nothing.
right. It's like you get in this fog and daze and you just go through the motions of everything. And you didn't know. You didn't know maybe to even ask. Like it's all new. It's all new. So don't beat yourself up about that at all.
No,
Um, yeah. So when you had to, so what did you have to do far as your treatment? Did
I had a double mastectomy.
okay.
That was the only thing I
Oh,
remember I
okay.
chose.
Okay.
And I had my, implants now, but at the time it was the double mastectomy. It was January 7th and February 28th. They told me I was cancer free and I didn't need anything else.
Okay. So you didn't have to go through chemo or radiation or anything. So you just okay. So
That
you
was it.
wow. Okay. So how did that whole process for you? How was that? Because that is intense. And was your husband able to be with you during that time?
He came for a week.
Okay.
My mom and my sister were here. My mom came January at the end of December, and my sister came the day after my mastectomy.
Okay.
And that's something that I be grateful for the rest of my life because
It's okay. Take your time.
my my sister had a 8-month old
Mm,
and she paused everything and came to help.
wow.
And it's a debt that I'm never going to be able to pay, you know.
Mm, they love you.
They do.
Yeah. And you got a lot of people out here put hearts up because they love you too.
One of the things that I regret the most about that time in my life is that I never spoke.
Mm,
I never allowed myself to feel anything.
mm,
I didn't cry. My mom was here and she couldn't see me cry.
mm,
If I cry, she cries. That was everything that was in my mind. If you cry, your mom's gonna cry.
mm,
And I didn't allow myself to feel anything.
mm.
So I was mad most of the time. I spent I can't even tell you how many days I spent in my room because you know, having my breast taken out of me, it's something that people don't understand. It's something that I live every single day. And people think that because my cancer story is so short. It ended there. And it's been 4 really long years
Yeah.
that I'm cancer free. But I mourn that part of my life every single day.
Mm,
And it's hard.
yeah.
It is hard. It was a really hard time. It wasn't until, well, COVID hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom had to go back home before COVID. She was supposed to be home for a week. And my brother came to help while she was gone.
Oh, that was sweet.
And in that week, the world shut down.
Yeah.
And my mom couldn't come and my brother couldn't leave.
Oh, wow.
So he stayed here with me for until July. So I wasn't alone, I was with
Right.
him. And it was really fun to have him here just because he knew what I was going through.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You know, he understood.
Mm-hmm.
And we had really good days and really bad days. But because COVID, I was so scared to go to the doctor.
Mm.
And they had to fill out the things, the not the
The
implants,
expanders.
tenders every
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks. I stopped completely going to the doctor. I was so scared of getting sick
Mm.
that I just stopped. And when I went back, it was June, and I told the doctor, my boob looks weird. It looks super weird.
Mm-hmm.
It had a hole, so the water was coming out.
Oh, your expander had a hole in it.
Yes.
Wow.
And he said you have two options. Either we fill it out every 3 days
Mm-hmm.
and we get the surgery done as quickly as possible, or we get surgery to change the expander.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I could choose the size that I wanted. I wanted to have the same size that I had before. That
Mm-hmm.
was my goal. And I went into surgery and I got my implants. And my husband came and he had to quarantine. So I had the surgery with my
Uh-huh.
brother, and my brother left. And my husband was here, but in a hotel.
Yeah, because they could not come in the hospital.
Yes, or the
Mm-hmm.
house.
Right.
So I was alone for a couple of days. And then Alex came back home. And that's when reality hit.
Mm. Wow.
That's when I started crying.
Mm. Yeah. You went through so much of it. You had support, like you said, but you had kids there. And I can only imagine like not wanting to cry in front of them or your mom.
Mm.
And so now you're able to release. So when you were able to release and actually cry and actually feel, what was that like for you?
I made the decision to not tell my kids what was going on.
Hmm.
So crying in front of them, it was not an option.
Hmm.
But I had some days that I couldn't stop crying the whole day.
Mm.
So I would take 3, 4 showers a day because I would go into the bathroom and cried and cried and cried and cried and allowed myself to cry because I needed to do it at some point.
Right.
That's where, Here for the Girls came into my life the same day that I was told that I didn't have cancer anymore.
Mm.
And I always tell the girls that I allow myself to be myself with them. but it was COVID. So
Mm,
we were not having any meetings. We were doing it online. So it wasn't the same thing.
right.
I started going to therapy. That helped a lot because I was able to talk and cry and talk and cry with somebody that didn't knew me,
Right.
that I wasn't affecting
Hmm.
because my husband could he didn't know what to do with me or how to help me.
Right.
So yeah.
So how did Here for the Girls impact you? Like what has been your experience with the organization?
They're my pink sisters. Everybody is. I love them. I I thought that I was strong enough that I didn't need any help
Mm,
because I'm that's just who I am. I'm used to
right.
doing it all by myself and going through obstacles all by myself. But once I met everybody, I'm never gonna forget my first meeting in person. It was right before COVID. And I'm here sitting in a living room of a lady that I didn't knew. I didn't knew anybody.
Hmm.
And I had people flat, people with implants, people that have been out of cancer for 9 years,
Hmm.
people just diagnosed. So it was a really weird position because I wanted to celebrate that day they told me I was cancer free.
Mm,
And I didn't even know what to say or what to do. Once I started telling my story and I started crying, that was it. That was my place. I understood that I really need the support.
right.
And I needed somebody that was going through the same thing. That's so
Mhm.
important. Now, when I met someone that has just been diagnosed, that's the first thing I tell them. Find people that it's going or have been going through the same thing because you cannot do this all by yourself.
Right. Right.
That's why I decided to become a calendar ambassador
Okay.
because they have become such a big part of my life. They're my friends, more than friends. They're my sisters. They're
Mm-hmm.
the family when I need that closeness and I'm I'm still going through it. I had surgery 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
So this is a non-ending story.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
And
we,
that's really hard because that's the part that people don't see.
right. Right. So with that being said, what are you doing now? Like, are you speaking? What is your now like after all that you've gone through? And like you stated, it doesn't end after treatment. We are still contending with different things and different appointments that sometimes scare us and things of that nature. But what does now look like for you? Like, what does it look like for you now? And I know you've been through, well, we all have been through a lot being part of Here for the Girls and some of our sisters transitioning. That has been difficult. That was something I think that was mind blowing to me when you start really knowing people and they transition. And it kind of, I don't know about you, but it kind of put a spark in me to even go harder to share more. But what has your life been like with not just Here for the Girls, but like what you've gone through Here for the Girls and just like what's your passion now? Because I know you're all about early detection and what is your now look like for you and maybe even
Now
your future?
I I try to speak about it as much as I can. People
Mm-hmm.
need to understand that early detection saves life. And it's not just a quote, it's a
Right.
statement.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest you find it, the more chances you have.
Yep.
And it's so important. That's why I became a calendar ambassador because people need to understand that part. You need to fight for it.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the age where you can go and get your mammogram, you need to fight for it. You need to check yourself every month.
Hmm.
So now I try to be everywhere, every event, every single thing that Here for the Girls do, I try to be there because people need to see it to believe it. If they don't see it, it's just a table full of calendars.
Right. I didn't ask you to do this, and ooh, hopefully you don't get mad at me. Do you mind sharing that message in your native language so that people who are hearing that they may not know English or whatever? Do you mind sharing that?
No, of course not. Hay que chequearse todo el tiempo. Tienen que luchar por tener un mamograma inmediatamente cada vez que se siente algo. Es bien importante que toda la gente entienda que si se encuentra a tiempo, es más fácil.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because everybody needs to know,
Yes.
it's not just about one particular person or whatever. And if we can use whatever means necessary to spread it, spread it. I'm a big advocate for that. And I just thank you for sharing everything. And is there anything else that you would like to share about what you've gone through or anything that you're getting ready to do or what have you? I know you're really big about, Miss May. I know this is your month and everything, but is there anything else that you want people to know or anything?
I have a lot of plans.
Okay.
I'm working on different things that I want to do in the breast cancer community. Um, I was speaking with one of my friends the other day. I had a body scan for I take tamoxifen.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I That's the only thing I have to do. I didn't tell you that. I take tamoxifen for 10 years
Okay.
and it's a pain.
Hmm. Yeah, I heard about the
You're in
side.
tamoxifen too, right?
No, because I had the double mastectomy and I was stage 0. So
Okay.
if I would have done a lumpectomy, I would have been on it for 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. And I couldn't get in because my kids couldn't go with me and my husband is not here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we were talking with my friend and we were saying we need to do something. There's so many survivors, women in
Mm-hmm.
that area going through the same thing that I can't go because I don't have nobody to watch my kids.
Right.
So immediately after talking with her the next day, I sent an email saying we need to do something because this cannot be happening again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that I would love to change that I'm never going to be able to do it. That crazy thing that people want to do, have a mammogram at 40 and then wait 2 years. Life
Mm.
can change in a second.
Yeah.
You cannot wait 2 years.
Mm-mm. Nope. So what I'm hearing is that you get because of your experience with having because you had your children and you had no one there. You're trying to maybe think of some things to do to try to help
Yeah.
other women with those same situations. It's greatly needed for sure. Um,
I don't know if
Transportation is
there's any other
needed.
people in my situation or if I'm the only one,
Right.
but something needs to change.
No, you're right. I mean, you got issues. Some people like Medicaid has transportation and stuff, but some other insurances don't provide transportation. So you have that issue. You have the issue with people not having care for their children while you need to go to important, doctor's appointment. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Well, I'm glad you're thinking about those things because they're definitely needed for sure. For sure. And I'm sure, we got grants out there and everything. It's just about organizing and where your passion lies. I'm sure you'll definitely move in that
We'll see
direction.
what happens.
Oh, I'm sure you are who you are. And I'm sure your friend. Your
Like
friend who's always very supportive of you, who I'm sure is very nearby, right?
probably.
So I'm sure she'll help you too. But you got all of us that definitely support you. You're just a joy. We love you so, 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 so much.
Oh, I love
So
you all.
much.
My son Matthias, he's actually the one that said, "Who are these people?" And I said, "They're my friends." Then, when he was old enough, I think it was like a year after I was gone with everything, that he finally realized that I had breast cancer.
Oh,
We
okay.
went to a breast cancer walk
Uh-huh.
and he wanted a sash that said
Oh,
survivor.
yeah.
So the lady said, "You can't you can't have one."
He's like, I survived too. I had to live with my mom.
They put it on me and he looked at me and said, "Are you a breast cancer survivor?"
Oh,
I said, "Yes, I am." He would Now he tells my story to
oh, wow.
everyone.
Wow. That's
And
powerful.
he loves to support me.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to support here for the girls.
Oh,
He goes wherever he can.
oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, he
So
is.
sweet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wore our shirt just to support you today.
So he calls everybody my pink sisters.
Okay, we
So
accept that.
yes, they're my pink sisters. He's like, "When is the meeting with the pink sisters?" I'm like,
Tell
because
him that. Go
they
ahead.
go with me everywhere.
Oh, tell him that his pink aunties love him very, very much. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful though that he's sharing because that's awareness. And
You know,
he'll
I
probably
was
look back one day and be like, "Oh, now I that's why mom was acting that way." And he'll be able to share that with other people who go through it, even at his age. So that's powerful.
it's so funny that I want to tell you the story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last week we had our monthly meeting
Hmm.
and we met at Panera. So they were sitting in the table behind me,
Uh-huh.
and we had two new girls in the group.
Oh, okay.
So we were going by one, telling our story. And Matthias comes and says, "Is it my turn yet?" And I'm like, "Your
Oh,
turn for
wow.
what?" He's like, "I have a story to tell too." And it made me realize, of course I told him no.
Maybe you have something to say.
But then it made me realize all this time he goes to the events with me and he tries to do as much as I can. Maybe he does have a story to
He
tell too.
does.
And he just needs a way of expressing or
Hmm.
a way of being more involved because he wants to do it all with me.
Yeah. See, you should have had him up here tonight, ma'am. Let him tell his story.
He wouldn't have let us talk.
My goodness. That is so good though. Because
Yeah,
they do. A lot of kids, and that's one thing. I don't know if you've talked about with with your group or whatever, but that's one thing that you don't find very often is a lot of support for children. Because they go through it with us. Like even if they don't know, they may sense that something's different in the house.
yes.
So yeah, so they need support just as well as the caregiver, as well as ourselves. Like they need support as well. So that's good that he's being vocal. And I wonder where he got that from.
I don't know.
I have no clue at all either. I'm just gonna act like I don't know. Maybe his mom though.
Maybe.
Y'all about to change the world, girl. Go for it. So
He's a really special kid.
he is. He is. Oh my goodness. So, ma'am, you had a reel with all your photos and everything, and you had a particular song. So, if you don't mind sharing with everyone, what was the name of the song? and who's the artist, and why did you choose that particular song?
I chose Broken and Beautiful by
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Clarkson. The song talks about being a superwoman,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I feel. I feel most of the time that I can do it all by myself and that I'm a super mom and a super wife and that I am a super friend. But it also says sometimes I just need a hug.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth.
Yeah,
I'm broken, but I'm still beautiful and I'm still me.
I love it.
Mm.
And so, what is a word that you can leave with everyone? Maybe it's encouraging. I don't know what you're going to come up because you already questioned me about it before we even started. So I don't know where you're going with it, but what is something that you would like to leave the audience to maybe encourage them? Maybe they got some wounds and some scars that it's hard to look at or it's hard to deal with mentally. Maybe they've healed, or maybe it's fresh wounds, but something that you can share with people that maybe help you get through.
Okay. I've been thinking of this word for the longest time.
Uh-huh.
It took me a minute to find the definition of the word, the same word in Spanish as in English,
And you can translate if you want to. You can do
because it says in Spanish it's fortaleza,
okay.
and if you put it in the computer to see what the translate will be, it says strength, but it's not the same thing.
Mm,
So I wrote it down,
okay. And you can
and
speak
it
it in Spanish and English if you like.
oh, don't worry, it's called fortitude. Fortitude,
Fortitude. Yep.
yes. It says that it's the ability to resist and stand firm in face of adversity.
Mm,
And for me, being able to go through it at my own pace and having to face everything
mhm,
at my own pace, it was something really big. I knew I was capable of doing it, but it was hard.
mm,
So I could tell you I have another word, and it's regret.
mm,
I regret how I did the things at the beginning. I regret not questioning people. You need to ask questions. I don't have a picture of my surgeries.
mhm,
I regret how I treated people. And when I realized what I was doing, I decided that I was going to live my life without a regret. And that's what I've been trying to do. Trying to be as positive as I can be, try to be the same happy person that I
mhm,
was before. That's something really difficult to do because now I live with a lot of fear,
mm,
but I still try to find the beauty in everything that I do and in everybody that surrounds me.
mhm. It's
So,
beautiful. Beautiful. So I like to leave people with a little something too. So what um the I had met you before, but I think the gala was like when I really met you because you were like, here, come here, I need to come over here and talk to me. You were like, come talk to me right now. So I was like, wow, she's spunky. She just said she's gonna come over here and just make for sure that I talk to her. But no, it was all good because you're just you're that type of person. Like you're the type of person like you're gonna stand up for what you believe is right. You're gonna stand up for voices that aren't being heard. You are a person who has a lot of tenacity and zeal when you're passionate about it. And that's what I seen that very first night. And then from there, we just kind of been talking through situations that have happened with people that we care about who've transitioned. And then I seen the other side of you, the compassion, which I had seen before, but like the real compassion and the softness, even with how you really empathize with people, and you go very hard and beyond and over and beyond with trying to really meet people where they are, and not just the person, but the whole entire family or whoever needs your support. But tonight I see another side of you too, which showed so much resilience. Um, and it's just amazing everything that you went through by yourself pretty much. I did hear you say, talking about, you had gone to church and stuff. So obviously your faith, what you believed in, played a part as well. But within that, it was almost like I could see you saying, like, I need to go through certain parts of this by myself right now, and then I'm going to be able to release it later. But I love the fact that you haven't stayed in a broken place. And what I mean by that is staying in that place of regret, but you're taking it now and you're changing it, because it's like you don't want other people to go through what you went through. So now you're sharing your story wherever you can, and you're very passionate about that. And I just encourage you to continue to speak, continue to share it wherever you go, whatever you do, and whatever dreams and things that you have that God has placed inside of you for you to do. Don't even think about it can't happen. I want you to think it will happen. I want you to think that it will happen. You don't know the timing of when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Long as you got that dream and that vision in you that came from him, he will make it happen. He's not giving it to you just for no reason. So he will provide what you need in time. So hold on to it, cherish it, develop it, let it cultivate during this time. Let it marinate a little bit, before you get ready to show it to everybody. But I believe that he has so much greatness in you. And I just pray that you'll continue to move forward in all that you've been called to do.
Thank you.
You're
That's, yeah,
welcome.
that's pretty much who I am. You got it so right.
Goodness, I just love you so much, so
I
much. We
love
all
you
got to get
too.
together again soon. I always have a good time with y'all and y'all shopping adventures that I don't never participate in. I just go around, take pictures of everybody, but that's what I like going for, just take pictures of y'all shopping. But I love you so, so very much.
I
And
love you too.
please tell your friend, if you see her, let her know that I love her too.
Love you. She says love you too. She's so far away she couldn't hear you.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So, yeah, if you don't have anything else to add, then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But hopefully I will see you soon. Hopefully we can get together.
Yes,
All
we
right.
should.
Well, this concludes another episode of Our Scars Speak. And remember that our scars, our mental and our physical scars, they speak a story that can help heal the wounds of another. So until next time, see you later, and we love you. Bye.
Bye.